Hi everybody. I am going to do a review, I guess, of sorts on these drawing pens, the black pens that I got for Christmas. I got this lovely sketchbook from my friend for Christmas. It's beautiful. She says she got it at Barnes & Noble. It's got this lovely paper and it's bound in signatures. As a matter of fact, you can even see, because it's on purpose not connected here. So I don't know if you can see it, but you can see how the sketchbook is, there you go, is bound in signatures, and it's also tied. So this is a really good sketchbook. The pages aren't going to come out. They're sewn in really nice, super nice paper. I am going to have so much fun in this sketchbook, but I thought I would use this sketchbook. I think I'll use a back page to test these papers. I mean these pens. Excuse me. Test these pens. And the pens I have, I'm going to scoot that way so it's flat. All right, the pens I have, I got as a gift from my mother for Christmas. I had on my Christmas list the black pen sampler, drawing pen sampler from Jet Pens at jetpens.com. This is the printout from Jet Pens as to what is in their sampler. Oops, wrong way. That's the printout of what's in their sampler. My mom couldn't purchase the sampler because the sampler was out of stock. It was out of stock because they were out of stock on this pen, which is the Sakura Micron. Actually, no, it's not a Micron. It's a Sakura Micro Perm pen. That one there. So I'm not sure how that is different than their Micron pens, because I'm not going to have one of those to try, but I have all the others, and I thought I would just go through them. I'm going to just see how they draw and write and go for it. I want you to see what they are. I'm going to put them up here in order of what this list is. I had them all laid out nice in order so I could keep track of what is what. So there's a Kuraki Zig, a Marvy Leen, a Pilot drawing pen oil-based, a Pilot drawing pen water-based. I could not, I'm assuming that the little water drop on the Pilot pen shows the water-based. Then the Rotring Ticky graphic drawing pen, a regular Micron size 02, a Stabilo sensor fine liner, a Staedtler pigment liner, a Staedtler Triplus fine liner, and then a Uni-pin. So we're going to go through all of these. I'm going to read the thing that my mom was so generous, and she printed out the page that talks about each type of pen and what they're used for and what they're about. So I'm just going to go through this list, play with it. I have brought out my water brush so I can go over them to see if they smudge at all with water, because that's something I really need to know if I'm going to be doing any of my mixed media work or any other drawing, or something where I might be incorporating it with watercolors or water-based markers. Actually, I should also use a highlighter. I think I'm going to also use a highlighter and just a little Sharpie to go over that to see if it reacts with a marker or a Sharpie. If I was to decide to draw something and then color it in, the last thing I would want is if it bleeds. That would be bad. Very, very bad. Oh, hang on a second. I'm not quite prepared. I was gonna get a water-based marker. I don't have one here. No, I don't have one here. I'm going to put you on pause. I will be right back. I'm going to go get a water-based marker as well. Just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I went and got myself a water-based marker. It's an Artist's Loft watercolor dual tip marker. I really like these markers. What I don't like is that the pen cap is not anywhere close to the color of the marker. The pen cap, you can see there, is kind of a limey green color, and the marker is much darker than the cap. So that's the one thing I don't like about these markers, but they're a nice marker. So yeah, I am going to scooch these off to the side. I'm going to keep them in the same order so I don't get confused. And just try these puppies out. Okay, I'm going to go in order of this sheet, and we're just going to work our way down page. So I'm going to stand this up where I can see it. This is a little different than from regular drawing, so you know, bear with me if I'm like out of frame or whatever. I'm going to, I can't really tell where I'm at with my page. I'm going to turn this so that it's more comfortable for me. Focus. Focus. Okay. It had nothing to focus on, so it wasn't sure if I am going to start at the top with this Kuraki Zig Cartoonist Manga Outline Pen. Say that 5 times fast, right? It's a Manga 02. Let me see what's to say about this. The Kuraki Cartoonist Manga Pen is created specifically for manga artists. It's a water-based pen formulated to be smudge-proof when used with common manga supplies like watercolors and alcohol-based markers. That's good to know. Okay, so this is the, I'm going to write K-E-U-R-E-T-A-K-E. Kuraki Manga, size 02. Draw myself a little line. Does it draw? There's something I need to know when I'm doing my Zentangling is it draws. I tend to draw with my hand more straight up and down when I tangle, but does it draw at an angle? And it does. This pen draws if you are holding your pen at more of a standard pen angle rather than straight up and down like I tend to do with my Zentangle. So that's good to know. That feels good. It's got a nice thin tip. An 02 is just slightly bigger than an 01, which is what I normally draw with. Let's give this a go. It said it was supposed to be smudge proof with watercolors and water based. So here's my water pen. Doesn't smudge. That's good. Actually, I'm going to make a column. Water brush. And here I'm going to put the Sharpie, and here I'm going to put the highlighter, and here I'm going to put the water marker. Okay, so I'm gonna make kind of so I know what I'm doing here. So that was where the water brush was. The next column, I said I was going to do the Sharpie. So that's how it works with Sharpie. It's not bleeding. And then the highlighter works fine with highlighter. Oop, I gotta have to leave my hand here so it has something to focus on. And what was the last one? Oh, the water marker. Water marker. Okay, so that one seems to work really well with everything. And you can put your hand at a more natural angle while drawing. That is good. I like that. I may start using this as my new drawing pen for a while. We'll see. All right, next is this one. Well, I didn't show you that pen up close. Let me show you that pen up close in case you guys like it and you want to see what it looks like. See if it will. It's hard to see, but it's Zig Manga. You can hardly read that. But that's what it looks like. There's the UPC if you need the UPC for any reason. This is from Jet Pens. Okay. I'm not a Jet Pens isn't a sponsor. It just happens to be where I bought all these. They came in this kit. Okay, so the next one is the Le Pen technical drawing pen. It is a 0.03. So it's a Le Pen 03. And you can tell that's thicker. I don't know if you can tell. Can you tell? It's thicker than an 02. Makes it a little bit bolder a line. Nice and smooth. Can I do it sideways? It does work in a normal handwriting stance. You don't have to hold your pen straight up and down. You can do it at a normal angle. So for those of you who really don't like the microns because of the whole angle thing, here's another good option. A Le Pen technical drawing pen. The paper here says that the Marvy Leen technical pen contains pigmented ink that resists bleed through and is permanent when dry. The barrel is slightly wider, making it more comfortable to hold. And I will agree that it does feel slightly bigger than the last one and definitely bigger than the Micron. So it's more comfortable in your hand. If you're making it more comfortable to hold if you're inking for hours at a time. So this is a good pen. I like this. And well, let's see what it does with all of these. It says that it's supposed to be resist bleed through and is permanent when dry. Well, that's the other thing. I didn't look on the other side to see if it was coming through. It's not coming through. The only thing so far that's coming through is the Sharpie, and the Sharpie always comes through. Okay, water brush. It made no difference. Sharpie. No bleed with the Sharpie. Highlighter. Works fine with a highlighter. And water brush, water-based marker. Works good. So, that one also works really, really well. Look at that. All right, next on the list is going to be the Pilot Drawing Pen Oil-Based Ink. I am not sure I've ever used Pilot or an oil-based ink, but this is what it looks like. It's just says Pilot Drawing Pen, and it is, the barrel is purple and it's got this kind of checkerboard pattern around it, but the labels are all not in English, so I don't know what size it is. The thing from Jet Pens says it is an 03 size, so this is the Pilot. Pilot Drawing Pen 03. Now, I can already tell you that this is not going to be my pen of choice, because see how much fatter this is than that? The tip might be an 03, but it's bleeding into the paper. It just sucked it up and it went, and it made it really fat. So that I don't like. I can tell you that right now. I'm gonna make myself a squiggly line. That's working all right. It draws at a normal drawing angle. It says it's an oil-based pen. It did really bleed through though. Here's the other side. This is the back side of my paper. And I always expect a Sharpie to go through. Always expect a Sharpie to go through. The paper buckles a little bit with the water brush. I expect that. The highlighter obviously didn't go through. You can see a little shadow of the watercolor marker, but it didn't bleed through. That's important. This pen is bleeding through, which means that not only will I not be able to use the back side of the page, which most of the time I don't use the back side anyway, but there's a possibility that if I'm not careful, it would actually bleed through to my next page down, and I'd have to put a sheet of scrap paper between my two pages, and that is probably not going to happen. Okay, so let's try the different things here. That one's a no. So far, that one's a no. No go. The water brush is not affecting it. Although I did notice when my page was a little bit wet when I put the pen down, it even bled more. So if I was to, let's say I was working on a piece of artwork and I used some watercolor and I thought my page was dry, and it really wasn't quite dry yet, and then I came back and I was doing some lining on top of it, this pen would totally bleed. See that? Oops. Can you tell I'm not focused? I went too far zoom. It can't focus that well. Okay, there. See it? See it right there? Not good. Not good for me anyway. That might be fine. You know, it's not that it's a bad pen, but that it's not good for my application. Here's the Sharpie. Works well with Sharpie. Works fine with highlighter. Highlighter usually doesn't affect anything most of the time. And here's the water color marker. So it works fine with those. Doesn't work really well if you would be combining it with watercolors or other wet media and you hadn't dried your page. That's good to know. You know, probably be fine. I bet you this marker will be fine on top of my mixed media pieces, on top of acrylic paint after it has dried. It will probably work much better than some of the others on top of mixed media work, because a lot of pens don't work on top of the acrylics, or on top if you've put a layer of Mod Podge or gel matte medium on top. Lots of pens won't write on top of it. So this will probably be put into my mixed media pile and not my drawing pile. Okay, that being said, the next one on the list is the Pilot again but it is their, it still says just Pilot drawing pen. And the only way you can really tell the difference that I could tell, here's the one I just did, is that the oil one, because it doesn't say oil or water or anything. I mean, it might over here in Japanese, but I don't know what that says on the label. But there, it looked like a little water drops on the barrel, and the barrel was blue. So I'm assuming that's the way you could tell them apart. This one is also supposed to be an 03. So let me come over here. Pilot drawing and 03. And pardon me, I now have someone at the door. Oh, it appears to be the, I can wait. Appears that we had a package delivered at the door through the post office. It's been a busy door day. Okay, so can this one draw at different angles? Yes, it can. I don't have to draw straight up and down. I can use a more natural pen holding. And I actually was looking for a pen that I could hold more naturally so that I wouldn't be blocking my drawing while I'm drawing my Zentangle on screen. I actually want one where I can hold it in a more natural way. So this is good. This is good. It's a little bit fatter. It's an 03. I like this 02 better. But you can tell even with this, you can tell that this 03 is closer to that 03. This one just went, the paper just sucked it up. And it could just be the paper. That's also something that you have to consider when you are testing out your supplies, is that different papers will take the pen differently. So, you know, it's always good to do a test with your materials before you use them on the piece that you're going to do. That's always, always good. So let's see, we want to come over here. I'm going to do a little bit of water brush. Seems to be unaffected with water brush. Sharpie. Seems to be unaffected with Sharpie. Highlighter works just fine. And this marker works just fine. But see how the color of that is not the same color as the color. Well, it's closer on the screen than it is in real life. In real life, this is more of a yellowish olive color than this green. That's interesting. Anyway, and how about the back side? Did it bleed through? Not really. It's shadowed, but it didn't bleed. The only one so far that's bled is this Pilot. I should write the difference here. This one is water. And this one was oil. And I know the difference. Okay. Next on the list is this one, right? Okay. This is the next on the list. It's called Rotring Ticky Graphic Pigmented Ink. It's an 03. Oh, I forgot to read the thing about the Pilot drawing pens. Here's something interesting about the Pilot, these two that we just did. It says we've included both the water-based and oil-based versions of the Pilot drawing pen in this sampler. Both contain dark ink that is great for all kinds of drawing and writing. The oil-based pen has the additional perk of being able to write on various surfaces like glass and plastic. That is important. That's something I may have to make a note of somewhere. I might even write it on a piece of tape and tape it to that pen, that I can use that on glass and plastic, because it is very difficult to find pens that you can write on glass and plastic. Very important. And that also makes me, oh golly, my brain just went, I've lost my words. It also verifies the fact that I thought it would be good on top of the mixed media, because your acrylic paint is actually sort of a plastic, and so writing on top of acrylics would be really good with that pen. Anyway, let's go back. Roto-Ring, Ticky graphic Roto-Ring. Let's read about it. It says, the Ticky contains free ink. I've never heard of free ink. It's a special pigment ink formulated by Roto-Ring. It writes slightly wetter than others, so the line it lays down is more bold. Use it in your comics when you need a thicker line for extra emphasis. All right. So it's going to be a wetter line. Don't know what that means. Let me zoom back out so you can see my whole page here. Okay, this is the Roto-Ring Ticky graphic. Pen 03. Okay, I could see, and you probably can't see, but when I'm drawing with it, I can see that it's a little wetter, soupier. It does make a nice bold line. It seems to be bolder, even though it's an 03, it does seem to be bolder than this one and this one. So that's, and you can write, you can hold your pen in a more natural way rather than straight up and down. And let's do the water tests here. Water brush. Seems to be fine with the water brush. Sharpie. Doesn't bleed with Sharpie. I have found that there are a few pens out there on the market that when I colored in with Sharpie, the Sharpie somehow activated the pen and it bled, which is why I'm doing this test. Okay, works fine with all of those. So that was good. That was a good one. It's good to remember that this is more bold. It's bigger. If I was to use this one, I have to remember that even though it says it's an 03, it acts more like an 05. A little bit thicker. Okay, so the next one on the list is the Sakura Micron. Sakura Micron, this is the size 02. So it's a little bit thicker than the 01. Here's my 01. I don't know if you can tell the difference. Zoom way in. Oop, too far. Focus. Give it something to focus on here. Come on. There we go. Can you tell the difference between the 02 and the 01? There's just a slight difference. Oop, in my way. You're gonna love this. I'm gonna make everybody sick here. And you have to read it all sideways. I'll turn it around when I'm done, but I need to be able to write right side up here. Okay, so, but since it's a micron, I know that if I hold the pen in a more natural way, for a while it'll be all right. But if I end up with a a nib that's funky, that gets really down. Like after I've been using them for a while, here's my 01, and my nib has gotten to the point where if I went to go put it in a regular way, it won't write at all. I have to do it straight up and down. So yeah, looks like almost that this pen has been pushed in, and I don't know why. Anyway, so that's a regular Micron. It's just a little bit bigger than the ones I've used before. And I know that they work fine with water. They work fine with Sharpie. No bleeding. Everything's fine with all the different media. I like the Micron pen. I do. I like the way it writes. I actually really kind of liked this little pen in my hand. Well, that was nice. Okay. Next on the list, and the Sakura Microns on the paper here, it says the Sakura is the iconic Micron, is well loved for its permanent and archival quality pigment ink. Now that's important. Not all of them are archival. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, do any of the others, the pigment, the Rotring says it's pigment ink, so that will probably be archival. The Pilot does not say anything about archival. The Le Pen says it is pigmented ink, so that will be an archival ink. And the Manga is a water-based pigment, so that is also pigmented. So those are all, should be archival. The reason you might want to use an archival ink is so it doesn't fade over time. I know for a fact that Sharpie might be permanent, but it is not archival, and it will fade over time. It will turn a sort of weird brown color. So let me finish reading what it says about Sakura drawing pens. While the microperm is known for its permanence and multi-surface capabilities. That's the difference. That's the one that didn't come in the kit because it was out of stock. The microperm is a permanent multi-surface pen from Sakura. Artists often use the Micron with watercolors and markers, while the microperm is best for permanent writing on craft surfaces like paint, plastic photos, and more. So now I know which one I'm missing, what it was for, which means it wouldn't be good for my drawings anyway, which is fine. Then I don't need it. Next one on the list is the Stabilo sensor. Stabilo sensor, it looks like this. It says Stabilo sensor on there. It says sensor technology on the barrel down here. Don't know what sensor technology is. It's got the UPC is there. It says that the Stabilo sensor fine liner is a good for heavy-handed writers. That's good to know. The tip has a micro cushion that adjusts to your writing pressure, which keeps it from getting frayed with frequent use. So if you're the kind of person who mashes down the nibs of your Micron, this might be the pen for you. Stabilo sensor fine liner. What size is it? It just says fine. It doesn't have a number. It seems to be close to this Rotring Graphic 03 in size. You might not be able to tell on the screen, but that seems to be this, and you can very clearly write in any direction, which is good. I can see that if I push and hold the pen though and leave it in one spot, it tends to bleed just a little. Yeah, it's going through the other side. If you were to fill in a lot of dark areas with this pen, it would bleed through. That's unfortunate, but it's good to know. If you are not doing work on the back side of your tiles, or if you are using a thicker cardstock or a tile, or if you don't care that it bleeds through, just know that it might bleed through. It seems to be. Let me zoom in right there. I gotta leave my finger there so that it has something to focus on. But see how it did right there? It made puddle. But I'll just hold it down. I should go back and do that on the other ones and put it and just hold it, because sometimes that's what happens when you're coloring. You end up coloring the same spot over and over and over, and it really sucks in the ink. The paper really sucks in the ink, and that could cause a problem if you're trying to color and you don't want it to bleed outside your line. Something to remember. So I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to test that on the other ones. So let me go backwards here. Here's my Micron, and I'm just going to hold it. See how that doesn't spread near as much when I push and hold? Paper's taking in quite a bit of ink, but not as much as it did here. It's not sucking it up like that. The next one was this Rotring. Let me do that. Oh, Rotring is very juicy. You don't want to leave it one spot too long. Look at that. Does the same thing as the Stabilo. Oops, you can't see that. I have to move my paper. Yeah, really juicy. And if you do that, it definitely bleeds through. So that's not good. The Pilot water-based one. I don't tend to leave my pen in one place too long, but the water-based one is not having an issue. It's a little, sucks up a little bit more than the Micron, but it's not bleeding through. And here's the oil one, the Pilot oil one. It's this one. Yeah, it's having the same thing. I figured it would. It's really, if you leave the pen, if you're a slow drawer, don't use these. If you're one of those people who, because of mobility issues or whatever, and you actually draw in a much slower fashion, look at how it's going to bleed rather than going quick. Yeah, that's not good. And it way bled through. I knew that would happen because we'd already checked that. Let's see. Now I'm going to go to this spot. See if you can see it. The Le Pen. It's the white one. Let's do that. It is not having an issue. So if you are a slower drawer, if you draw more slowly, it's not going to bleed on you. And then the first one was this Kuraki manga. Has absolutely no problems with that. It's It's not sucking up at all. If you're a slow drawer, you can draw really, really slow and it'll still give you a nice crisp line. That's good to know. All right, let's go back here, go back to what I was doing. And where was I? Stabilo, I was checking it for water. Ooh, that caused, okay, it's not waterproof. That Stabilo fine liner pen smudged quite a bit with the water. See? Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, look at that. It caused a gray and it really smeared it. That's not good. So the Stabilo sensor might be really great for writing if you were writing a letter. Not so good for the art if you're going to do multimedia or mixed media. Let's see. Does it have a problem with Sharpie? No, has no problem with Sharpie. Highlighter? Seems to be fine with the highlighter. How about the water marker? The water-based marker, it's okay, but the water for the water brush just, oh, that was a mess. Okay, good to know. Do not use that one in my mixed media. I can use it to write letters with. Not so good for the other. Back up. And what's next on the list? That one was on my no-go list. Okay. Next on the list is another. That one was Stabilo. This one's Staedtler. Staedtler. It's a pigment fine liner. It's an 03 size. It's got an interesting little thing here, right? It says, I don't know if you can read it, but right there it says 18 hours cap off. So if you're the kind of person who writes for a really long time or tends to leave your cap off while you're working on something else, good to know. It's not going to dry up very fast. It says it's indelible, waterproof on paper, and light fast. In the paper that I got sent, it says Staedtler drawing pens. The Staedtler pigment liner contains ink that's acid-free, that's this one, archival quality and fade resistant, making it good for artworks and letters you want to preserve for years to come. If you don't need that many technical ink qualities, the more affordable Staedtler Triplus, which is the next one that they've given us, is more affordable, is slimmer, and good for taking notes on the go. Okay, so this one is more of an art pen. Is the Staedtler pigment liner. It's an 03. Makes a nice, I like the way it writes. It's really nice. I can draw in a regular way. And let's try the suck up test here. If you're slow or if you're doing lots of ink in one spot, it is going to suck up a little bit. Not as bad as the Stabilo or the Pilot drawing pen or even the Rotring, but more than the Microns and the Kuraki and the Uni-pin. So if that helps you out any, and let me see if it bled through. It only bled through where it was, oh, you can't see that. It only bled through where it is the the dark dots. So it's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see. Oops, zoom back in. And let me do this other test. I want my water brush. Where'd my water brush go? Oh, water brush is fine. No smearing. Worked great. Sharpie works fine. Highlighter works fine. Watercolor marker works fine. Okay, so it'll be fine as long as I don't leave the pen in one place for too long. It'll work great. The next one is the other Staedtler. It is the Triplus fine liner. It says dry safe on it. I don't know what that means. It's a triangular shaped barrel. I don't know if you can tell that. Can you tell? Yeah, you can't quite tell, but it's a triangle. So it feels pretty good in your hand. Staedtler, what was it? Triplus. Triplus fine liner. It's an 03. Okay. Can I draw with regular shape? Yep. I don't have to go straight up and down. I can draw at a more natural angle. That's good. Let's see about the sucking in quality. Much less than the pigment liner. So if you're a slower drawer, that might be the pen for you. It says it's less expensive. Just an FYI. What did I do with it? Oh, it's back here. I do have the price sheet from Jet Pens today, or no, from Jet Pens December 8th, 2016. The Triplus fine liner was $1.70, and the pigment liner marker was $3.30. I'll go back through, when I'm all finished, I'll go back through and put the prices next to the different pens. As of December 8th, 2016 at 2:06 p.m. when my mother ordered these. I can't guarantee that the prices will be anywhere near the same at any other time or at any other website. Just letting you know. But I will write down so that you have a relative idea of which ones were more expensive, which ones were less expensive. Now I want to do the water. Ew. Okay. Good to know. This one smears with water. Yeah, that one does not not gonna play with watercolors. How's it with Sharpie? With Sharpie it's fine. With highlighter, I actually see it slightly smearing with the highlighter. Just slightly. Watercolor marker is fine. Okay, so the Staedtler Triplus, not so good with wet. Boy, it's getting really dark in here. Sorry about the lighting conditions. It is a dark, dreary day and the sun is starting to go down, and I have as many lights on as I can get on over here in the corner, but they're not as good as it could be. So I apologize for that at the moment. Here's the last one, is the Uni-pin. Let me show it to you. It is hard to see, but is a Uni-pin pen. Uni-pin for Pro. It says waterproof and fade-proof pigment ink, so it should be archival. It tells you all sorts of things about it in Japanese. It's a Mitsubishi pencil company, made in Vietnam, if that makes any difference. It's an 03, and now let me read about it. It says, the Uni-pin, the sleek Uni-pin contains pigment ink that is both waterproof and fade resistant. The tip writes with slightly more friction on the page than others, which is good for slow and precise technical drawings. So let's see what that means. This is the Uni-pin. Uni-pin pen, size 03. So most of these pens were 03. I like to usually do my drawings with an 01. So I'll probably, maybe I'll switch to this Manga 02 as something to switch to and play with. Looks like I can draw at irregular angles. I don't have to be straight up and down. I can be straight up and down, but I don't have to be. What about the sucking in business? It's not overly sucking in, they're right. If you are a slow, methodical drawer, if you're taking your time and making nice, long, slow, you're going to be happy with that. You do feel the drag a little bit more than with the other pens. That's interesting that you actually can feel the texture of the paper more with this pen than with others. I do like that it has, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you probably can't. It's got a clear barrel there, so that if you had a bunch of these different sizes, without taking the cap off, you could see the size of your pen tip. That's interesting. Okay, it says it's waterproof, so let's do that a test. Yes, it is. Well done. Sharpie. Plays well with Sharpie. Plays well with highlighter. Oops, that's my Sharpie again. I don't need that. Plays well with the water-based marker. Okay, so conclusions. Conclusions are that the Triplus fine liner, the Stabilo sensor fine liner, and the Pilot drawing pen, oil-based, not good for my wet media. They're not going to play well if I'm also going to do watercolors as my coloring in. The Rotring Ticky graphic pen, not good if you're going to be coloring thick with your black because it's going to spread. Pigment liner Staedtler is also going to spread a little bit. And the ones that bled through to the back, oops, I need to zoom out again. Look at the other side. That's, to me, very important. Especially on if I'm going to be doing tiles on both sides. That's really, really important. A lot of them bled through. The Sharpie I knew was going to bleed through, but look at how much these ones bled through. That's not good. That's what I don't want. So the ones that didn't bleed through for me is the Uni-pin, the Uni-pin, the Kuraki manga, and the Pilot drawing pen, water-based one, and the Micron. Those were the ones that had the least bleed through to the backside. And now I am going to go ahead and put the prices of the different pens based on December 8, 2016 at Jet Pen prices, just so you know, if you were just to buy one pen, this is what they would be. And just so you can get a relative cost, the Kuraki is $2 a pen. The Uni-pin was $1.59. That was a good pen too. For 50 cents, for 40 cents difference per pen, it might be just as well to get the cheaper one. The Pilot drawing pen, oil-based, is $3.30. For me, well, not worth it. Totally not worth it for me. It doesn't fall within what I use for art. Now, that being said, if you do a lot of work on tiles or plastic or weird drawing surfaces, I haven't tested them on those, but that's what it says it's for. It might be well worth the extra money. Pilot drawing pen, water-based, is $2.50. The Rotring was $3.60. My own personal opinion, I would not spend $3 per pen. The Sakura Micron from Jet Pens was $2.50 for just one, but you can find those in sets, which makes them cheaper than that. I don't know about these others because I didn't buy, but this is, like I said, it was a gift. The Stabilo sensor fine liner was $2 per pen. The Staedtler pigment liner was $3.30. That was a nice pen. Not sure I'd spend $3.30 on it, but it was a nice pen. The Uni-pin is $1.65, and the Triplus is $1.70. And there was an eraser in the package. I'm not going to review the eraser. So, you know, for what it's worth, I'm going to turn this and see if you guys can read it all. I'm going to move my camera because I need to get it up where you can see the whole thing. All right. Can you see all that? I'm not sure you can, but come on. Sorry, folks. This is not a normal thing for me here. Can't get any closer because it runs into the tripod. But there you go. There's the final results of my tests and the pricing. And this was a really, really long video. Maybe most people aren't going to even care. But if you do, and it's something that you are interested to learn about, then that's why I did this. And, you know, if you don't care, you don't care. That's fine. And, yeah, I think I'm done. This was very informative. I have picked my favorites. It's going to be this Kuraki manga, the Uni-pin, and probably this Uni-pin. and the lip pen and the Uni-pin are the two least expensive, followed by the Kuraki manga. So believe it or not, the least expensive pens are the ones I like the best. Who knew? I didn't even look at the prices until the very end here. So hope this helped somebody. And I think I'm done for the day. My head hurts. I'm ready to be finished. It's time for some dinner. And maybe I'll draw a little bit more later, but I'm not sure. I think I'm done for now. I will see you guys later. You guys have a blessed rest of your evening. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.